Good morning, friends, and welcome to my second part of Toni Morrison as a contemporary novelist lecture. Yesterday, in my last lecture on the same topic, I had talked about the various issues that the African American writers dealt with in their works. The major issues or the themes that were talked about by the African American movement and also the current literature as I had mentioned, were the culture, racism, equality, and even the sexism in the society. These issues, or rather the works that represent these issues of the present times, also reflect the struggles undergone by the African American race. I had also talked about the marginalization of race, color, culture, or religion that has been abandoned through history. I had even spoken about marginalization and even biased against some small minorities, which was a very common phenomena in the white dominated countries, which also included the treatment being meted out to the minorities like Indians and Chicanos and the Black Americans and so on. When the African American writers started writing, it was taken up as a rebirth for the blacks, as a significant development and an expression of opposition and rebellion. Today I'll be talking about a little more about Toni Morrison as a contemporary novelist, together with comparing her with certain writers who share the same themes or maybe same issues in certain novels of theirs, certain works of theirs. Now, Morrison plays with a variety of viewpoints as whites and blacks, husbands and wives, parents and children observe and misunderstand each other. In her works, we find a continuous juxtaposition of appearance and reality, the magical and the real, and even the comic and the tragic. Irony operates at many levels as the hopes and plans of Morrison's characters, they are frustrated by their white neighbors. Now, Morrison frames her tales or stories within mythic narrative structures, thereby creating a heroic context for her themes and characters. Together with this, she also develops a rich irony by contrasting the heroic expectation with the mundane reality that is there. She even puts the opposite figures against one another. And by means of this writing skill, as well as her art or her style of story narrating, she makes an effort to discover what will be the choices and the actions of her characters. Her readers do not get ready-made answers for anything, but they are always a part of the story's resolution. Now, Morrison, she uses the mode of magic realism very successfully, and it becomes, we can say, one of the most essential components of the African American poetics, since it creates an African worldview. The African cultural traditions are thus integrated into contemporary Western literary tradition in Toni Morrison's fiction. Her novels transport us into a world in which there are flying black men, as we see in her work Song of Solomon, blind horsemen in her Tar Baby. We have swamp women, spirits, and even a wild woman living naked in the forest. The fabulous world that Morrison portrays in her novels, it presents a belief about an alternate reality in which the spirits can cohabit with the human beings. For example, in Beloved, a work by Toni Morrison, no one questions the idea of a ghost cohabiting with Seth and Denver, because her appearance does not violate the African religion and philosophy. Now, as far as Morrison being a fictional artist is concerned, she could be even compared to Virginia Woolf, an early 20th century British woman writer. Now, like Virginia Woolf, Morrison's novels are also bracketed by war. Though both these women, they belong to different centuries, different cultures and times, yet both of them had to face the same problems as women writers. While Virginia had to kill, in quotes, had to kill the angel in the house, unquote, Morrison had to, quote, kill the mammy in the big house, unquote. Now, if you see, at a certain level, both their views might seem to be different, but if we give a deep study to it, we would find that the writings of both of them deal with, or are rather focused on, the relationship between the inner life of the characters and the world in which they find themselves. The inner time is always transforming their outer time through memory in both their worlds. And because this memory does not concentrate on just one individual, it becomes a communal memory, and even the outer time transforms the inner time, as we see in Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway and in Morrison's Beloved and Song of Solomon. Both of them clearly admit or confess that imagination holds a central place in their temperament, and that they have used some similar narrative strategies like the interior monologue and the stream of consciousness. The way Toni Morrison deals with the issues of racism and sexism as being the source of black women's oppression in America, we are also reminded of Anita Desai, a contemporary Indian novelist who wrote in English and very sensitively presented the issues of female alienation and oppression in the post-colonial Indian society. Anita also deals with lonely and sensitive heroines, as we see, like in her works like Maya, Monisha, Sita, etc., who are pitted against the dehumanizing forces abroad in the Indian society. Now, when these heroines, they seek for higher communions of the free spirits, they are forced to conform, and even they are deprived of the basic or ordinary comforts that one should get in marriage and motherhood. The necessity to succeed in conformity leads them to hate themselves in case of Morrison's heroines like Piccola, Sulla, etc. Now the McTeer sisters in Morrison's Bluest Eye, Gloria and Frida, who learn the survival techniques equally like Amla, Monisha's sister, in Anita Desai's Voices in the City. Now Desai's Sita and Morrison's Seeth, they act as counterparts on a closer look. So we see that the crucial issues of female alienation and oppression are mirrored with strong authenticity and expressed very artistically in the fiction of both these novelists. More about Toni Morrison as a contemporary novelist I'll be dealing in my next lecture. Till then, goodbye and good day. Thank you.